And is PS Plus coming to Xbox? One of 2022's best-selling games is coming to Game Pass. Microsoft will give you a free Xbox if they feel sorry for you. Let's discuss. If you want to make sure that you're Xbox ready this holiday season, I have links down in the description below with all sorts of stuff down there. Consoles, controllers, headsets, TVs, washing machines. What's up, guys, and welcome back to another weekend edition of Xbox Ready. So yeah, Lex Fridman interviewed Todd Howard, and we learned some pretty interesting things from Todd. It was like a pretty safe interview, but he had some encouraging things to say if you're a fan of Bethesda, if you're a fan of Xbox. Yeah, the first thing I saw in this interview was this clip on Twitter where he was talking about exclusivity to Xbox. That's not necessarily news. We knew that, Starfield, Redfall, the next Elder Scrolls, that's all going to be Xbox exclusive after the acquisition.
Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, they're going to make their new studio games exclusive. I'm excited for Redfall. All these games are coming to PC, so I don't care.
No new release date for Starfield. Not sure when that's going to happen. It's supposed to come first half of 2023, but he did say that he assured us that, it was a tough decision to delay Starfield, but it was necessary. And he said that Xbox's top engineers are working to optimize Starfield further for Xbox consoles. And because it's exclusive to Xbox, he said that it's a lot easier, obviously, because you only have a couple of consoles to worry about,
right,
rather than making it available for all platforms. I see the merit in that. He did mention that he's feeling the pressure. He's feeling the pressure because after this acquisition, all eyes are on them, right? It's not just they have to make a good game by their standards. They have a great history, besides Fallout 76. They have a great history of making these really fun games, these games that endure for a very long time. But not only do they have to live up to their own standards, but they have to become like a system-selling game, because it's like all eyes are on them. And if these games come out next year, Redfall and Starfield, and they suck, those are the first batch of Bethesda games that we've seen since the acquisition. It's not going to be a good look, and I've been saying that, and I'm aware of that. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm excited to play the games. But yeah, if they're like not a home run knockout of the park kind of situation, I'm a little worried how that's going to look for Xbox as a brand. Yeah, he also gave a pretty encouraging update on the Indiana Jones game. He said it was going to be like a love letter to fans, that he's excited for it.
He's a huge Indiana Jones fan. He has like a little mini Ark of the Covenant on his shelf that I always thought was cool. I love Indiana Jones. I'm like a huge Lucas fan, obviously, because I love Star Wars and stuff. Indiana Jones is awesome. I just wish they would hurry up with this game and move on to like get it out, because it's an IP-driven game. I'm sure it's going to sell gangbusters if it's like an 8 or above. But Machine Games was doing really cool stuff in the shooter space, and this is very obviously not going to be a first-person shooter. This is going to be a third-person, like, story-driven action game, which, some would argue Xbox needs. I hope Machine Games is working on multiple stuff.
Yeah. Next up, let's talk about a mystery edition coming to Game Pass. Well, it's not so much of a mystery anymore, but over the past couple days, the Xbox account tweeted like, "Oh, this is what's coming to Game Pass," and then they had like not a crossword puzzle, but like a fill in the blank kind of, what is it, Price is Right situation.
Oh, okay, like Wheel of Fortune.
Or the Wheel of Fortune situation, where it's like, oh, guess what it could be? And people are like, oh, Lego Star Wars fits perfectly into this. And it does turn out to be Lego Star Wars is coming, the Skywalker saga, on December 6th to Game Pass, and just in time for the holidays. And I think that's a great addition going into this holiday season, to be completely honest. It's kind of like a wholesome addition before they put on High on Life, I guess.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for High on Life. But yeah, I don't know. This game was funny because it was like one of the most hyped games of this generation, or like in my recent memory. Like people were really, really hyped for Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, and it was like it got delayed and delayed and delayed.
It kept getting delayed,
and then it finally came out. People were like, "Oh, okay." It's just another Lego game. And then they moved on, which like, I didn't beat it. I was like playing it. I was like, this is cool. I like this. This is kind of fun. And I was like, I should just watch the movies at this point.
Yeah, because you could play through every era, right? Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, well. Yeah. And they always do like funny little gags in those, and that was the best part. That's always the best part of any Lego game inspired by whatever franchise. And my favorite thing to come out of Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga, is like the TikTok account that does the plug walk.
Yeah, the plug walk.
And it's like the different like droids and character. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And yeah, I feel like a pretty solid pickup for Game Pass because, again, sold very well, generated a lot of interest. Maybe you can get a second boost in terms of its player base and interest when it comes to Game Pass.
Right.
We've seen that before, obviously. And yeah, a great game for the family if that is a factor for you on your Game Pass plan.
Family Game Pass.
Family Game Pass, yeah. When is that coming out? It's being tested right now in Colombia and Ireland, I think. Hopefully that comes out soon. But
that's kind of weird. They should add Assassin's Creed Valhalla to Game Pass now that that game's done. They just added the final chapter today. Like, I think today, actually. And they're adding Destiny armor to that game. So I will be jumping back into it. But I would love to have that on Game Pass.
I mean, they've added the other eras from Assassin's Creed. Odyssey's on there. Origins is on there. Valhalla is on PS Plus Extra, so I don't see why it wouldn't be on Game Pass too.
Oh, good point.
So yeah, I feel like they should have added that a while ago, and it could have been great for Xbox fans seeing all these people play God of War Ragnarok. And, if you love like Norse mythology, you want to kind of experience it for yourself on Xbox, here's Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That would have been a good move. I'm excited for Callisto Protocol, man.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't played it yet because
I got that pre-order. I'm gonna pick it up after work for PlayStation 5. I'm excited.
Yeah, keep in mind we're filming this before Callisto Protocol's out. By the time this video goes up, it will be out, so we're talking about it in the past tense. Super excited for it. I heard that the campaign is pretty short, though. It's like 12, 14 hours.
Yeah, they have like beta paths, though, so when you're making your way through it, you can just pick different ways.
High on Life, like you said you were excited for, that's coming out December 13th. It was supposed to come out October. Now it's for real coming out December. Yeah, that's day one on Game Pass. It's a timed exclusive, from what I understand. So it's not necessarily going to be tied up in the Xbox ecosystem forever, but we'll have like a head start on it on this platform. You know those timed exclusive deals I'm always complaining about when PlayStation does it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing that for Xbox.
Crisis Core Remake, though. That's what I'm going to be playing December 13th.
Dang.
PSP game in 2022. I'm hyped.
Oh, downloaded Warhammer Darktide.
Me
Super
too.
excited about that.
I got that on Steam.
Yeah, it's not available on Xbox consoles just yet, but it is on PC Game Pass. It will be coming to Xbox consoles and Xbox Game Pass, I think sometime in 2023 is what they said. Yeah,
it just bums me out with that game, the monetization with it. I just watched a video on the way to work by Legacy Gaming. I listened to it. I didn't watch it. They were talking about the monetization. It does that stupid thing where it's like, oh, you can buy skins in a bundle. It's 2,400 coins or whatever it's called. And you can only buy them in like multiples of 5.
Yeah.
So you have to spend more money. I just hate stuff like that. It also has timers on the shop like Fortnite where it's like, oh, if you miss out on the skin, you don't know when it's coming back. And I was like, you know what this sounds like? Tencent. And I looked it up, and yeah, Tencent owns the developers. So it's like, damn. I was so excited too. I love Warhammer. I think Warhammer is really cool.
I'm more of a fan of the RTS games than I am of these kind of
Total War
gauntlets.
Warhammer.
Yeah. Because I played Vermintide and I was like, this is okay.
Vermintide 2 is
I was
way
like,
better.
I don't know. I didn't play Vermintide 2, but the first Vermintide, I was like,
2 is
I
like
don't know.
a looter.
Next up, we got to talk about, okay, this past week was crazy in terms of the news cycle for the Activision Blizzard deal. A bunch of headlines came out about a bunch of different stuff, and it seemed like everything that was coming out news-wise was tied to this acquisition that Microsoft is trying to do with Activision Blizzard. At this point, we've heard from some pretty interesting people that it's going to go through, but then I'm seeing all these headlines that it's like, it's not going to go through. I'm like, I don't know what to believe anymore.
If there's an FTC lawsuit, if that actually happens, I would say it's like 50-50 shot at that point, based on my zero knowledge and legal skills. But like, I was reading about it, and that's generally how it goes. Like, once the FTC lawsuit starts, then it's like, oh, this isn't going to work out. This is going to be like T-Mobile and Sprint. Or what was it? AT&T tried to merge with someone. I think it was T-Mobile or one of them, and it didn't work out.
Xbox was suggesting to the CMA, I believe it was, that
the Country Music Awards.
The Country Music Awards, of course, very big drivers in the video game industry.
Correct.
That PlayStation should adopt Xbox's practice of putting their major flagship titles on PS Plus day and date.
That would be so incredibly stupid.
They said at a minimum, Sony could include additional first and third party releases in PlayStation Plus. And on the day and date of release, Sony's first-party exclusives not currently included in the PlayStation Plus include prominent titles such as The Last of Us, God of War, Spider-Man, and the Final Fantasy VII Remake. The inclusion of such titles would be beneficial for gamers.
I think that I read that they made this statement in like October or something. Like it wasn't super recent, which like the timing of all this coming out couldn't be worse because God of War Ragnarok just set the record for like the fastest selling PlayStation game ever. It's the best launch in the entire series. It sold like 5 million copies in a week. If you put that on Game Pass, you're just, or a PlayStation Plus, you know what I mean? They're decimating that sales potential and you are going to make so much less money in the long run.
At the same time, it's like, it makes me wonder why they made PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium in the first place. Like, they could have just kept rocking with the traditional way that they had been doing. Like,
I think it's like if they don't have an option for you, that's dollars they're losing to Microsoft, right? Where they're saying like every subscription to Game Pass when we don't have a subscription service is just a lost dollar for PlayStation. So they're like, yeah, we'll half-ass it and give people an option at least to keep them in the PlayStation ecosystem.
But like the big thing about Game Pass is the day and date stuff. And I get it that Sony doesn't need to do that with PlayStation because it's working out completely fine for them. God of War Ragnarok selling like hotcakes, whatever. They did have a statement back. They said, we're in a virtuous cycle where success has allowed investment, which has generated more success, which is allowing us to invest more and will hopefully generate yet more success.
That's kind of like the PlayStation story. Like, you know,
Yeah, they sell well, they get the money from that, and then they invest it in the next title, make it bigger and better.
They're really good at incubating games. Like they're really good at finding a studio that wants to work on a game and then being like, okay, we'll help you work on this game, and then they eventually buy the studio. Like that's the Sony way.
Another interesting thing that came out of all this is that apparently PlayStation offered to put PS Plus on Xbox consoles, and Microsoft said no.
Right, because they're basically saying like, we're going to put the PS Plus that we have without our first party games, right? And then it's like a lot of the games have crossover like in the services. So they're like, yeah, you can let people subscribe to PS Plus on Xbox and download all the same games that are on Game Pass. And then you will get 30% of $8 a month versus 100% of $15 a month.
It might not be the worst idea ever, even if the terms aren't as favorable to Xbox, because then it's like you buy an Xbox, you could play PlayStation games, and you could play Xbox games via Game Pass. Sure, you might have to wait a while for like the newer PlayStation games to make their way to PlayStation Plus in the first place, but you can catch up on like the old PlayStation games that you may have missed out on by being a loyal Xbox person. This is like something similar that we heard a couple of months ago where Xbox said, oh, we offered to put Game Pass on PlayStation consoles and Sony said no. I don't know how true either of those statements are or like what the terms were for each. It sounds like, and it makes like a good headline, but it's like how serious was either company in offering those subscription services for each platform?
They're not going to allow a subscription service that has third-party games that are available on their store or in their own subscription service. Like if Xbox was like, well, we offered to put Game Pass with only the Xbox exclusives on PlayStation and they said no, that would be one thing and a little bit less understandable. But if somebody's like, no, like we're offering like Final Fantasy VII integrated on our service too, well, that's a bad example because Xbox doesn't have it. You know, like a third-party game. They're like, oh, we're offering the same third-party game as Xbox. We're not going to let people subscribe to Xbox to download it. Like it's crazy. I think I had it figured out in college where I would just wait for the Game of the Year edition with all the DLC for $40. And I would just have the time of my life playing these games when they were finally done.
Nice.
And now I'm like playing stuff day one. I'm like, oh, huge patch. Oh, massive bugs. Oh, stuttering. Oh, low frame rate. Oh, and then a year later, it's like the Game of the Century edition with fixed gameplay and like improvements to quality of life. It's stuff we should have had in there from the beginning. And every time I'm like, should have just waited.
Should have just waited. Next up, did you know that you may or may not get a free Xbox if someone feels bad enough for you? That's a story coming out of this rapper who performed at Rolling Loud, and he only had 13 fans watching his performance, and Rolling Loud felt so bad that they sent him this custom Xbox. And honestly, it looks pretty sick.
It's gold?
It's like gold, and then it like has like the special like Rolling Loud kind of situation.
Really weird, really bizarre scenario.
But it made me kind of want it. Like gold-plated Xbox looks sick.
Damn, dude, they flamed him. They said, hopefully you get 20 people next time.
Hopefully you get 20 people next time.
God, brutal.
Damn.
And they sent him an Xbox? Jeez. They didn't even get him a PS5?
Nah, man.
Oh, man. This is brutal.
Man,
I just quit rap.
Quit rap.
What I would do, knowing that this can happen, right? Like the Xbox loves giving away Xboxes. I would just ask them on Twitter every day.
Could be. I mean, they lose money on Xboxes anyway. So like, what's sending out a free?
Yeah,
Xbox
they've got
to
a budget for giveaways.
Oh, a bunch.
Yeah,
I haven't gotten any, but maybe you can.
Remember when we were talking about the Far Cry Xbox and we were like, okay, if someone actually wins this, like we were like unsure if this stuff ever makes it to anyone because you never hear about the person actually getting the crazy Xbox that they're coming up with.
Yeah.
So we were talking about it, and then the guy tweeted at you the Far Cry Xbox.
Yeah, he tagged me in a picture of the Far Cry Xbox. I was like, holy crap, that thing actually exists. And that thing looked absolutely insane. It was one of the first special edition Xboxes. They hardly ever do special edition Xbox Series X's. They usually go for the Series S. But yeah, maybe they'll see this and be like, okay, limited edition Rolling Loud, limited edition Gold Xbox. I don't know if that makes up entirely for only having 13 people show up at your performance. That would be pretty crushing. I used to perform at many places, but one of them was Six Flags, and I just remember like being like, dude, what am I doing?
Turnout?
Dude, what am I doing? I'm like, especially the daytime shows when it wasn't summer, I'd come out and like I'd be singing the song and there's like 10 people out there and I'm like, dude, what am I doing, bro? What am I doing? Like these 10 people, I'm over here like sweating, singing my heart out, and all for what? For like $13 an hour, maybe.
Are you actually Jake Novak?
I'm actually Jake Novak. Guys, that's all the news we have for this weekend update of Xbox Ready. Once again, thank you so much. Huge shout out to all of you who helped support the channel and got it to 100K subs. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? Who knows what Xbox Ready is going to look like this time next year? Because Lord knows that it looks way different from when we launched the channel last September. Again, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.